Hello, welcome to our group's presentation. And we think that our topic today is really interesting to those who want to find out about America. And the topic is merits and drawbacks of current US presidential election. There are three members in my group, Dung, Tùng, and me, Thuỷ. First of all, we want to give you an overview of the presidential election for you to imagine what it's like in the US. There are four main steps: primaries and caucuses, national convention, general election, and finally, electoral college. So let's move to the first part, primaries and caucuses. Primaries are run by states and local governments. They vote secretly for the best candidate, while caucuses are run by political parties. They conduct private meetings to discuss and vote for the best candidates. Although primaries and caucuses are run differently, they both serve the same purpose, that is to choose the nominees for the general election. And let's move to the second step, national conventions. After primaries and caucuses, each political party holds a national convention to choose the final presidential nominee. At this time, the presidential candidates also choose a running mate, who is the candidate for vice president. After each political party has chosen one nominee, the general election campaign begins. At this time, the candidates travel around the country, explain their plans and views, and try to win the support of voters. Rallies, debates, and advertising are the important strategies the nominees use for election campaigns. And here comes the final step, electoral college. The president and vice president are chosen by electors. So, who are electors? They are the people chosen to cast a state's vote for president and vice president. The candidate who gets voted by more than half of the electors finally wins and becomes the president. Well, I have just shown you an overview of the current presidential election in the US. Now, let's find out about its merits and drawbacks.
Hi everyone, my name is Dung. Previously, Thuỷ has gone through the US presidential election process. Now I will go into more details talking about the merits of the current US presidential election. I will cover the merits of 5 main points: the caucuses, primaries, national party conventions, election campaign, and finally electoral college. Now let's start with the caucuses. The fact that small states are able to deliberate over candidates instead of just voting for a candidate shows direct democracy, which is the most effective form of democracy. Each member of each state is able to directly influence the overall decision made in the caucus, making it very effective at getting everyone's view across. And what about the primary election? The introduction of the primaries means that more power has been given to the people and has made the whole nomination process a lot more democratic. And it also helps end the smoke-filled room politics and increases the power of party bosses. Furthermore, under this system, the small states, which are uncompetitive in the general election, have a better chance to get attention from the presidential candidates. The reason is that in order for the candidates to secure nomination, besides the large states, they need to visit and pay attention to the issues of the small states like New Hampshire, Maine, Delaware, and Vermont. And also, these small-scale interactions allow the candidates to get more connected with the voters, and it also allows the process to be open to outsiders who previously didn't have the chance. The most recent example of this is with Barack Obama in election. He wouldn't have the chance if without the publicity that he gained through the primary election. And next I will talk about the national party conventions. They play a vital role in determining the policies that will be included in the party platform. And this is also a good time for the members in the party to reunite after the rivalry they had to face in the primary election. And this is also the time for the candidates to get ready for the long and tough election process that is still ahead of them. Stage in the election process is the election campaign after the Watergate revelations. The Federal Election Campaign Act was passed in 1974. This act ensures that everyone has the equal funding opportunity. The nominees make use of the media to get themselves familiarized with the voters. The media here, such as the newspaper, TV, radio, plays a very important role. Thanks to the media, the nominees are able to get themselves on the front page of the newspapers, magazines, or appear on the TV screen or radio programs. And this is a very effective strategy for the nominees to gain more votes from the voters. And for the voters' benefit, the media keep updating information about the election process, and they also give comments and make analysis about each nominee. This is very helpful for the voters to choose the best president for their country. And the last one, finally, the Electoral College. What are the merits of it? It helps preserve the voice of small population states as they have the ability to get more electoral votes, and this ensures that the small states don't get pushed into the sidelines, and they are able to have a big effect on the overall results of an election. And also, the Electoral College encourages the two-party system, which is considered more stable. And this also brings me to the end of my part. Now let's come to the next part with
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vũ Tùng, and I'm going to talk about the disadvantage of the presidential elections in the United States. As everybody has known, the United States does not elect its president by a popular vote, but instead it uses an electoral college process to select its leader, which may not be the politicians the majority of people wanted. The most recent example occurred in 2016 when Hillary Clinton won a popular vote, but Donald Trump earned more electoral votes, giving him the presidency that caused a lot of controversy.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. You go over to China, 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 China. You take China.
China.
China. I love them. China. 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 I have to have my China. China. China because China. 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 China now. China. China. You know, China.
I know China very well. China, 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 China.
So here are some main disadvantages of the electoral college in the United States. One, obviously the person the majority of people want may not win, and this is not a sign of democracy. Certain smaller states have a larger percentage of electoral college votes than their percentage of the population in the United States. For example, let's take a simple this way. There's a state that has 1 million people and a state that had only 200,000 people. They are both the same. So it means technically the other 800,000 people will feel like their votes just don't matter. This is because the minimum number of electoral college votes for a state is free. So some people consider this not to be democratic. Two is very complicated and it simply discourages people from voting. A popular vote is a simple majority, But the Electoral College consists of redistributing votes every 10 years because of the population change and electing delegates. There are many more steps involved, which may give the citizen the feeling that their vote just don't matter, encouraging them to stay at home instead of visiting the ballot box on election days. You know, one of the most upsetting truths about the presidential election of America is that one man does not equal to one vote. California 55 Electoral College votes means there are more than 700,000 people per every vote. Meanwhile, there are only less than 200,000 people for each of winning free electoral votes. And this is very unfair, and also the reason why the majority of Americans want to rehabilitate the presidential election system.